Well, it's time for another edition of Bacon in Your Jammies. It's probably not only time for another edition, I think it's time for a new season. I started doing Bacon in Your Jammies last March, I think. Last spring anyway, as we started with this pandemic and quarantine. And I think I've done about 30 some episodes. If you've missed any, be sure to hop on to my YouTube channel, Bacon in Your Jammies on YouTube. All of my videos are there. They're also Bacon in Your Jammies on Facebook page. I do it on my regular page. I try to do it on the Instagram. I'm not great at doing that, but just know there's lots of things out there, lots of videos to reference out there. And so as we move into this new season of new year, new hope, I think we're going to just move into season 2. So season 2 of Bacon in Your Jammies, here we go, episode 1. We're going to be making scones. And scones are a traditional, kind of a British, what we would call a biscuit, but they call cookies biscuits. So scones, they're a breakfast, not a muffin, not a cake, somewhere kind of in between. And I saw this recipe yesterday on Food Network with Alex Gornicelli, and I've kind of edited it a little bit to make it my own, and we'll just see how we go here. So I've got new jammies on. I know it's not Christmas anymore, but I think that we all choose to find joy. And joy is really a choice, I think, in a lot of situations. And so today I'm going to choose joy. And so baking brings me joy, and you all bring me joy. So thank you for being along on this journey with me, and let's get on to bacon. So first thing we're going to do is get some prep stuff done. I've got my oven, my newly cleaned oven, preheated to 400 degrees. And then I've got a cookie sheet. I've got my large cookie sheet prepped with just a sheet of parchment paper. You can use a non-stick cookie sheet if you want. I love my parchment paper. You can get it at Costco, get big old rolls of that. So if you don't have parchment paper, use a non-stick, or I guess you could grease it a little bit. You just don't want your scones to stick. So I've got that prepped and ready to go. And then get our ingredients. So this is pretty basic. It's flour, it's sugar, and you can use white sugar or brown sugar, salt, baking soda, baking powder, and then 1 egg, and sour cream. This calls for a ½ cup of sour cream. You could use regular, what's that called, plain yogurt if you want to sub for sour cream. An egg, and then dried fruit. Today I'm going to use cranberries, dried craisins. You could use dried cherries, you could use raisins, dried fruit, whatever combination that you like. And then nuts, I have chosen today to use pecans, and I'm going to use dark chocolate chips. You can use white chocolate chips, you know, semi-sweet, whatever flavor chips you want. You don't have to use nuts, you don't have to use chips. You can make them plain, however you want to do them. But that's the beauty of this recipe, is that we're going to start with kind of the basics, and you can add in what you want. So that's the ingredient list. And then 1 stick of butter, and your butter should be frozen. Now, I buy butter by bulk at Costco, and I always, every time my husband goes to Costco, I say, please buy butter. And he said, we have plenty of butter. No, please buy butter. So I always have a good supply of butter in my freezer. So I went out and got a stick of butter out of the freezer this morning, and you grate it. Grate it with your cheese grater on the big grate on your cheese grater, and then keep it in the freezer till you're ready to use it. Okay, then we're going to start with our dry ingredients. So this calls for 2 cups of flour, just regular all-purpose flour, and then 1/3 cup of sugar. And today I'm going to use brown sugar. Now, I've never done that before, but I just think that it's going to be good, so we're going to try it. So 1/3 cup of sugar of your choice. And then our other leavening agents. We have a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking powder, and then 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And then we just want to mix that up. Look at this new tool I got. This is called a Danish whisk. I love it. Use it like a whisk. And we're just going to mix that in just to make sure that we don't have lumps of our leavening products that aren't mixed in the flour. So we just want to mix that in so that it's nice and stirred up. Okay, and then we want to get our wet ingredients prepped. So I have a half a cup of sour cream in here, and to that I want to add 1 egg. And then we're just going to mix that together. Come on. Alrighty, got this handy dandy little beater. I'm just going to mix that till it's incorporated well. And then, that looks good. Then we're going to get our add-ins ready. So I have a cup of craisins, half a cup or so of chocolate chips, and about a half a cup of chopped pecans. And I just have that all in a bowl, mixed up, ready to go. You want your pieces that you're adding in to all be about the same size, so that you don't get a big old nut and a little piece of fruit. You want them to be kind of all the same size, so they all are consistent size in there. So that's ready. Alrighty, so now we have our clean hands, and we've got our flour. Because I used brown sugar, I've got a few little lumps in there. Alrighty. So now we are going to get our butter. And I've got that in the freezer. And it's all grated, and I'm just going to put that on top of the flour. Now, we're just going to incorporate this by using our hands and mixing that flour and butter together. Now we're going to add in our sour cream and egg mixture. Okay, and this is a little bit like making pasta. Just take the flour and keep mixing it in to the center until that's mixed in. It's messy. It's messy. But don't be afraid. That's a fun part about baking, is get your hands in there. It's kind of like working in the garden. Get your hands dirty. Okay, now we want to work this as little as possible. So we want to just keep doing this. We don't want to mix it with our mixer. We don't want to, get in there and knead it. We just want to mix it so that it's all incorporated. And then we're going to add in our fruit and our nuts. Whoop! Whoops, we had a little runaway there. Okay, so it's all just kind of like little pea size. Alrighty, now we're going to wash our hands. Oh, maybe not. We're going to just pour this in. Lastly, though, we're going to wash our hands. Let's get that mixed in. Same thing. Mix that in. Oh, these are going to be good. Okay, now I'm going to wash my hands. Most important rule of baking, the first thing I do before I start is I run a sink full of hot soapy water. So I've always got that ready to go. Okay, now we're going to take just a little bit of flour, and I saw Alex do this yesterday. So she put it in a strainer like this, and then just lightly floured her counter. Because sometimes when you just throw a flour on the counter, you get a big glob of it. So that was kind of cool. Okay. So now we're going to take our mixture here. And we're going to form it we're just going to take our mixture and we're going to just put it right on the flour here. Get all the good stuff here. And you don't need a rolling pin to do this. You're just going to use your hands and you're just going to make this into a round. And just kind of keep incorporating all the little crumblies. This is meant to be really rustic. So I'd say you make it about an inch thick, which makes about, I'd say, about a plate size. So, what, 9-inch, 10-inch, however thick you want them. Okay, so now we've got that nice round. I'm gonna get my cookie sheet. And I'm going to take and cut this. So I'm going to cut this like a pie. So we're going to cut it in half. And then in half. And then each of those in half. So you get 8 pieces. Now if you want them smaller, cut them smaller or make 2 smaller rounds. This makes a really nice size scone. Okay, then you're going to take each of those wedges. Holy moly, good. So you're going to take this wedge and you're going to put them then on your cookie sheet. You can shape them just a little bit if they're kind of falling apart. Put them on your cookie sheet and you want them to have some separation between so that they bake evenly. And then you're going to just take some regular white sugar and sprinkle on top. And then we're going to bake these for 15 to 18 minutes. Now, you do not want to over bake these because you don't want them to get dried out. You do want the bottoms to be nice and brown. So I would start looking at them at about 15 minutes. You're going to smell them. They're going to smell fabulous. And then just let them, take them out when you think, you know, I think they're ready. Do not over bake them. Okay. Let's see, this is my sugar here. So we're just going to take a little bit of sugar and just sprinkle generously on the top. This is just plain sugar. Depending on the flavors that you want, you could use cinnamon sugar, I suppose, if you have a flavor that would complement that. These would be really good with a little bit of orange zest, cherries and oranges, lemon, little lemony. Be creative. So today we have craisin, pecan, dark chocolate. Alrighty, so there they are. We're gonna bake them up and come back and see what our finished product is. Alrighty, my scones are done. I did bake them about 18 minutes. Mine were not quite browned yet at 15 minutes. I just kept watching them. So they were at 15 or at 18 minutes. They're perfect. Look at the nice golden brown on the bottom side there. Just let them cool a little bit on the baking sheet. And then I served it up. Look at how yummy this looks. Now, traditionally, the British eat their scones with clotted cream, which is, I don't know exactly what it is. I would compare it to like almost a flavored, it's kind of a cream cheesy, creamy, I don't know what it is. Anyway, I don't have any cream cheese today and I don't have any clotted cream, but I do have strawberry jam. So I'm gonna just eat mine here with a little bit of strawberry jam and a cup of coffee, and I am going to enjoy. It's good. Cheers.